Prime Minister Mark Carney just in the last hour announced a slew of new supports for the Canadian steel industry. The Prime Minister says he will tighten foreign steel imports to Canada and increase the tariff rate for non-U.S. partners. Carney also said he would implement additional tariffs on steel melted and poured in China. He also pledged investments in Canadian steel companies and workers, putting $70 million towards training and income support for 10,000 affected steel workers, and announcing a $1 billion strategic innovation fund aimed at creating new jobs. This announcement comes as the Canadian steel industry struggles with 50% U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum. So for more on this, we've now reached Rahim Molu. He's the owner and managing director of Conquest Steel, a Toronto-based manufacturer of steel goods. Rahim, thank you for making time for us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
First, I just want your immediate reaction to what we heard the Prime Minister announce last hour.
To be honest, I think it's very refreshing to hear our belief in the country, economy, and manufacturing sector shared by our Prime Minister. And I could not agree more that we have the potential to become our own best customer for steel, especially if we support, protect, maintain, and manage this transition, which may be difficult, but will yield very positive long-term yields and benefits.
Did you hear more of exactly what you wanted to hear, or would you push things a little bit further? Is there anything that was missing for you?
I think there's a lot of good stuff, for sure, absolutely. I think one area that we would like to see it pushed further is dumping and competing against unfair trade practices has been a challenge we've been facing for years, and it's progressively gotten worse. So it was great to hear the Prime Minister talk about putting tariffs on Chinese steel and steel that's melted and then imported. However, I think there's been a lot of companies that kind of skirt the current regulations by importing minimally processed products or finished products that are then imported and resold in this country. And really clamping down on that, as well as the raw material, would be a huge benefit for manufacturers like us, because at the end of the day, it's demoralizing to spend time, effort, resources to develop a product only for it to be knocked off and then imported into our market with the impression that it's a Canadian company, and misleading customers to make them believe that it's made or designed in Canada.
When we're talking about the tariff rate quotas as well for free trade partners and non-free trade partners as well, would you like to see that further tightened? We did see an increase or a lowering of the threshold, rather, on those tariff rate quotas.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously we would like to see free trade, but given the circumstances, I think it's vital to strengthen and protect our local manufacturing sector. And I think part of that is clamping down on these tariffs. I think we're also especially vulnerable right now to having secondary markets dump their products into Canada that are redirected as a result of their ongoing trade war with the U.S. And I think tariffs and clamping down on the quotas are a good way to incentivize and protect manufacturers to keep developing products to sell and manufacture in our Canadian market.
Now, Rahim, some of the other portions of this announcement we heard included that $70 million investment towards training and income support for 10,000 impacted steelworkers, $1 billion towards strategic innovation fund aimed at creating new jobs. And we also heard sort of a federal requirement that projects that are being done in this country need domestic steel products to be part of the procurement. How much of a difference will that make for you?
I hope it'll make a significant difference, especially with our raised garden beds. We work on a lot of municipal and provincial projects. And when I've seen the tenders for these projects, they often contain products that could easily be made in Canada. And a lot of these products are being made in Canada. So having that requirement to procure them from Canadian manufacturers is a very big incentive and bonus for manufacturers in Canada. And ideally, it's something that's also adopted by the provincial and municipal governments as well, too.
What have the past 6 months been like for your particular company when it comes to the tariffs we've seen come in, be talked about from the United States, and then the sort of trickle-down effect that has had with other markets and domestic production, layoffs, etc.? What has it been like for you?
To be honest, it's been stressful and exhausting. But at the same time, I think a huge silver lining is the support that we've received from Canadians across the country. For us, we essentially lost our U.S. market overnight back in early 2025, and we had to find a way to pivot in order to move our goods and keep our employees occupied. And for us, it's a yo-yo. Every day is different. It seems like when there's some progress after our own election, it seemed like there was a certain change in the amount of respect that President Trump was starting to provide to Canada and Prime Minister Carney. And here we are again today. It's completely on the opposite side of the spectrum, and it is exhausting to deal with. But at the same time, the support that we receive from Canadians really is what encourages us to push forward. And I mean, I've never believed in this country more now than ever. I've always believed that Canada has the potential to become a global powerhouse and leader. We're often underestimated because we don't thump our chests as loud as the Americans. But it's really nice to hear our leadership voice that belief confidently. And there's certainly going to be bumps and obstacles in the road ahead, but in the long run, it's certainly going to be worth it.
Rahim, I want to thank you for joining us and for your reaction. And of course, we'll continue to have conversations about this. So thanks again for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And again, I just wanted to express my gratitude to Canadians across the country as well, too, because without the support of Canadians, Canadian manufacturing doesn't exist. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thanks, Rahim. That is Rahim Molu. He is the owner and managing director of Conquest Steel.